or is it something that's just showing how weak boxing really is?
Right.
You know,
Yeah. No, I agree. Okay. So
bro,
now,
I am getting big onto F1. I've been following it a lot more, and they're
yeah,
coming to
we're live
Miami
right
next
now.
year.
By the way,
Oh,
I'm just trying to figure out the whole video situation. Remember, same thing we have every time. Where I'm
mm-hmm.
try to get the video to show up, and I can never remember why it doesn't want to show up. Is it because I have to refresh? No. Let's see. Yeah, let me know on your end if you see it too.
I'm gonna try to pull it up now.
Because I feel like, yeah, we're live. Yeah, we're good. There it is. Let me see. Let me test the volume. Yeah, we're good. We're live. It's there.
Yep, buddy.
Yeah. It just for some reason on here on the actual studio it I don't know. It's just circling showing that we're not live, but we are. So yeah, I switched up the lighting in my room, by the way. So
Yeah.
I got some RGB lights. Let me see if I can reach these. I can show you. So I got these things on Amazon. I mean, they're super bright. But you can
Mm-hmm.
I got two of these for like I don't know, 20 bucks I think for both of them. And there's an app you put on your phone and you can sync them together like through Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or whatever. And so you can change the colors on both of them on the fly. It's pretty sweet.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been doing that. I was running red, remember for Gonzaga, R.I.P. Couldn't pull it out. Man, we won't talk about that.
Yeah.
We won't talk about that.
Les, Bull- Les Bulldogs.
Let's see. But yeah, can I pop out this chat?
Put
There we go.
something out. Put
Yeah,
something
let's
out
get
on
the
the.
socials going. I mean, we're live now, so people can come and hang out, and this is kind of like the. I feel like we're like a three-ring circus right now, and we're just that guy in the middle who's just kind of prepping everybody. This is what to expect. Hang out, do your thing. Oh, I tell you what though, we missed last week, which sucks. I had internet
Yeah.
issues, and we uh, we had a lot of people reach out wanting to know, hey, are we streaming? Are you guys streaming this week? Yes. So it felt better. I feel like since we've made the move to the YouTube, we've um we've gotten a
Making progress.
few new faces. Yeah.
Refresh this.
Let me see if I
Actually
can.
have.
I need to just pull this link and then send the link out. I've been trying to watch more YouTube just to support it because I feel like TikTok is taking over.
TikTok, yeah, it is taking over. It is taking over.
It's sad, It scares me. There we go. Now,
So
am I able to copy the link to this? Like, can I share it from here?
I finally have my internet is going to be checked out mañana
Yeah?
tomorrow. Yeah, I remember I've been having issues for quite some time, so uh, hopefully tomorrow we get them resolved and I can give you some high quality stuff.
I mean, you look good. You look good right now. Maybe we just needed to take a little break. Maybe
Hey,
your internet was like, listen,
once in a
bro, you
while
can't
it's
just
okay.
be throwing me into this shit thinking I'm gonna be running at
Every single
100%.
week.
Yeah, this is too much.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm up on my side over here.
Sweet. So we're up and running. I like it. I like it. So what do you got? What do you
Up and
got for
running.
tonight? What do you got in mind?
Well, we have we're gonna touch on a little bit of boxing and maybe the lack of boxing and what is
And the lack of boxing.
these exhibition fights. You know what people are thinking about these exhibition fights. We had one this weekend with uh one of the Jake Paul was fighting an MMA fighter. It turned out to be somewhat of a joke, and I want to get your thoughts on that, and um, Yeah, we are gorgeous, and
What up, Merc?
and then you have a topic that you threw at me, and we're gonna touch on that,
That's
and
gonna be a fun one.
We'll see how we roll with that, and then we'll touch up on Alex Smith today. Gave us a little bit of a talking point because he hung it up, man, after coming back and being the comeback player of the year. Has decided to hang it up and call it a career. And I, for one, am a big Alex Smith fan. So we'll get your thoughts on that, get the chat's talk on that, thoughts on that. And then we'll kind of roll around and we'll hit up on a couple of
gangsters. What's up, guys?
Yeah, baseball's kind of in the swing of things, and a couple of teams doing their thing, um, and then we got basketball. I think to fall in line with what your topic is, which is throw us your topic just so that you word it the way.
So
you
what I'm
want
going to do? Let me throw the topic out there so the guys in chat can let it brew for when we get to it. They can throw their name out. So basically, you have to name. We have to pick one athlete throughout history. Okay, this doesn't matter what sport. Pick one athlete to go completely injury-free from start to end of their career. What athlete would it be? You can only pick one. Now, obviously, you and I, we're probably going to name a bunch and we'll go in, but we're going to have to pick one. So that is the topic. That's the big topic we're going to have tonight when we get to it. So right now, you guys do your homework, do some thinking.
So again, the guy that made it start to finish injury-free? Or
No. A guy that you wish had gone injury-free.
Injury-free.
Right.
Injury-free. Yep. I just want to make sure that I understood it properly.
Yeah, I don't want you to pick, Patrick Mahomes. He hasn't been around long enough to matter.
Yeah, definitely.
But I am with Merc, man. I think I want to see Jake Paul fight somebody. I want to see Jake Paul actually fight a real fighter. Because I watched some stuff in the pre-fight, and they were in Jake Paul's dressing room, and he was kind of relaxed, but he was in the zone. They were talking strategy, this and that, and then they were in the other guys, and they were talking about how the price of Bitcoin had gone down and this and that. So I feel like there was one guy was looking at it in a serious aspect when it comes to Jake Paul. I think he was looking to prove a point, and I think the other guy was just kind of like going through the motions of it. He didn't take it really seriously.
Yeah.
But man, you could tell. People are saying that it might have been rigged. I've actually watched a few videos of people that were courtside, ringside, and there's no way, he got stuck. He stuck him good.
Yeah.
So
no, it was legit. It was a legit pop. And if he was in his locker room talking about Bitcoin and the price of that going up or down, then you know what, he got what he deserved then, right? Because
that's probably how they paid him.
Yeah, it looked legit. The punch definitely looked legit. Wobbled them to no end. And,
it was
put him out. Put him out. But I guess my question to you, and this is something we were kind of talking to, I was kind of hitting you up with it a little earlier, is this kind of a sign of where boxing is, that we are kind of a little bit more interested in these exhibition fights rather than, what potentially is out there that could be a mega fight? We have Canelo Alvarez. We have a young guy in Ryan Garcia who's coming up, who's a big bopper, good-looking kid, has a lot of pop to his punching. But yet, are we more interested as fans to see this kind of thing, because boxing really hasn't brought, the heat lately? What do we need to see from boxing to get us back on track? Because I feel like more people are interested in watching this type of fight rather than the actual, fighters and boxers out there in the main event.
Well, and I think 70% to blame, 80% to blame of this is the UFC. I think when MMA fighting came out, I think they were like, why would we watch boxing where these two guys sit and punch each other when we can watch these other guys that can do whatever they want to each other, and you never know what's going to happen. But at the other time, I think boxing has lost all of its heroes. I think other than Canelo Alvarez, who I still think is, one of the greatest boxers of all time. I don't look forward to any fights other than, Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua fighting for the 17th time in a row because they're the two best heavyweights in the world.
Right.
But
Right.
that's the only two fights that I want to see is a Tyson Fury fight or a Canelo fight. That is what boxing is right now. And if we can get some exhibitions in here to where, you've got these. It's almost like celebrity deathmatch is what boxing is turning into. Well, let's get these celebrities together and start going because I would rather watch that than these guys where I'm just the respect for boxing has gone out the window because it's such a people view it as a dangerous sport, but it's not pegged as a dangerous sport when you compare it to MMA, if that makes any sense. And it's tough because, like you said, there's no heroes left in boxing. Like that, it's plain and simple. Boxing is they need a Tiger Woods, they need a Michael Jordan right now to save their sport, and they don't have it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And we used to back in the day we could watch boxing, and I think we've had this conversation before too. These guys would go, the belt meant something. The championship meant something. Now we're in the age of money. You know what I mean? Who makes me more money? Who, forget, I'll give up my belt and my title to go fight this other guy because he makes me more money, even though it's not a good fight. I think that's where we're at, in this age in boxing, and it's kind of messed it up. Now, I'm all for everybody making whatever money they can make, but it's to the detriment of the sport, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're losing steam. To your point about MMA and UFC, Dana White, he puts on all these fights, right? He's like, I don't care who you are. If I say one is fighting two, and that's the way it is, and that's the way
Right.
it is. Versus in boxing, you have all these guys that Top Rank won't do business with Golden Boy, and Golden Boy doesn't like this promotional company, so we're not going to put our guys together to make the fight. I think that creates a problem. And I guess to a certain extent, we might be in an era where people are, their attention span, with TikTok, where it's a 10-second video and you're scrolling up and on to the next one. Maybe we want to see kind of the quick, keep me entertained for, as fast as you can versus really sitting there and watching, like they call it the sweet science, and appreciating a guy, that can move around and not get hit, and do the hitting and not get hitting kind of deal. That combined with, like I said, guys back in the day would fight 2-3 times a year, 4 times a year because it meant something, because I need to defend my title, because I want to go out there and show that I'm the best, and the best always fought the best instead of running away from each other. I think that it's created this era that we're in now where we just see these crappy fights. We have the Jake Pauls out there, fighting Nate Robinson, who he's, 4 feet shorter than he is, and fighting, I forget this guy's name this weekend, but, it's like, come on, let's get out there. I mean, I appreciate the fact that he, at least on his behalf, seems to be taking it somewhat serious. He's out there trying to do his thing, and but it's just a shame that that's where we are with boxing. MMA is definitely, I think, leading the way as far as contact sports are out there.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
And we want to give Donald Pump, bring up a good point. We got UFC in Jacksonville this weekend. The Usman Masvidal fight is going to be one. I think Masvidal, he took that fight on short notice, I believe, too. But I like him. I think if memory serves me correct, I think Masvidal lost their first matchup to decision or something. But I like him. I like him for the win this weekend. I like taking up short notice. He's got nothing to lose. I mean, just come in like a madman, dude. I'm hoping it turns out to be a good fight.
Yeah, those short notice fights can be pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Because the guy who's coming in on short notice has nothing to lose, and the other guy typically has been training for somebody else,
right,
and then has to make adjustments to somebody who he's still not too familiar with. But I do think that on their first fight, I thought it was a similar situation where he came in on short notice and got beat up. I don't think he really got beat up, but it was kind of a boring fight. They just went, I guess, the length and it, ended up taking the decision. So,
but again, I mean, look, these two guys here. If you ask anybody on the street who these two guys are, they're probably not going to know. But if I said, hey man, you want to come over and watch the fight Saturday? Hell yeah. You know what I mean? Because you don't know what's gonna happen. With boxing, it's like it's a bunch of dancing around. It's turning into soccer. No offense to soccer players, but I mean, it's rolling around on the ground. That's all it is.
Here, soccer, baby. We got to represent Orlando City. We got started off this weekend.
I got the Hater B shirt on tonight, baby.
Hey, man, that's right. That's right. Represent. All right, so that's a little bit of boxing or the lack of boxing that we've had here of late. Even though we do have what should be some decent fights. Again, nothing crazy. Canelo's coming up here in a couple of weeks. We got a couple other fights coming up, but nothing worth really writing the bomb about. It's just not it's nothing exciting.
But that's how dead sports are right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There you go.
So,
I do have some big news.
Let's talk about what's that?
I have a side note here, and now that college basketball's over, I know everything happened. It was 2 weeks ago. I don't want to live in the past, but Gonzaga landed the biggest recruit possibly in the past 25 years. Okay, Chet Holmgren is going to Gonzaga. Okay, the number one recruit coming out of high school in the country is gonna be a Bulldog, and I am pumped because next year is the year we're going back to the championship.
It's what's his name? Timmy Drew or Drew Timmy.
Drew Timmy.
Is he making a return back to the Zags, or is he gonna be NBA hopefully bound?
I almost feel like is he what? I don't know. Was he a junior this year or a senior? I don't know. I think he's trying to come back. I think he is coming back, or he's trying to come back. And that would be amazing if we get him and an 18-year-old Chet Holmgren coming off averaging a 20-12 senior season with 5 blocks. Oh man, it's gonna be nice.
Hey, is it gonna get them over the hump? They've been there time and time again, and just can't seem to get over the hump. So maybe this is the legit guy, because Gonzaga, when you look back at them, they are kind of the Drew Timmy type guys typically that play on that team, right?
White. So you can say it.
No, I'm just saying it's more of the I mean, damn.
It's a Jesuit school, so I get it.
It's those guys that tend to be maybe not the most athletic guys in the world, but are the guys that know how to play the game, right? But at the end of it,
it's a bunch of Tim Duncans. That's what they are.
Mega athletes out there. Yeah, you can have one Tim Duncan, but you can't have 5 on the floor. You know what I mean? It becomes a problem. So, is this guy going to be the one that gets him over the hump and finally gives him that, wildly athletic guy that's going to just take over the game?
I hope so, man, because I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of. It's not even like it's weird because with the Magic, take the Magic for instance. Like we fight for mediocrity and we get excited if we make the playoffs. With the Gonzaga, it's like I'm getting tired of not winning the championship. Like we're that good.
Yeah.
We just got to win the whole thing. We're getting there. Yeah. We just can't do it. And I mean, we're like the Buffalo Bills, man. It's sad. It's sad.
Yeah, and you know what? You make it the first time and you lose, and it's like, hey man, great story. Mm-hmm. You make it again. It's like, hey man, they're knocking on the door. They're right there. And then after a while, you're like, all right,
come on, you went undefeated.
You knocked on that door long enough. I mean, at some point, kick the damn thing in. Let's go.
Somebody's going to be home eventually.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how that pans out, man. It's going to be it'll be cool to watch. Hopefully they can get over the top. Their coach there, is it Mark Few? Is that his name?
I believe
so. He deserves something. I mean, the guy's been there for what seems forever and has been loyal to that school. I think he's due for one, and maybe passed up on a big chance here on this last tournament, to get it. But they seem like a school that will continuously be there. So we'll see. Good luck to those guys. But we'll talk about Alex Smith, man. Today, posting on his social that he is calling it a career, has decided to hang them up. Alex Smith, I think I've told you in the past, I'm a big fan of Alex Smith. You and I, when the awards were going to start popping up, we did talk about, I think we both agreed that Alex Smith should definitely be the comeback player of the year, and he was. And it was a great story. Yeah. I wish that, that he threw for a bunch of yards and a bunch of touchdowns, and it was even better. But just to see him after that gruesome injury, seeing him on the field, coming back, seeing the family being emotional, I thought that was one of the greatest scenes that you can see in sports. So thoughts on Alex Smith calling it a career? today.
It's I saw the Instagram video he posted. It was a great video, very inspiring to anybody that has gone through an injury like that, to where we're not even sports, but just being able to walk again. Very, very good video. If you guys haven't seen it, it's posted on his Instagram. But to be able to come back from an injury like that, and we had seen that before with the quarterback from UCF. Very similar injury with who was it, Mackenzie Milton, and. And for Alex Smith to come back, man, he said as soon as he could get the football back in his hand, even though he was still pins and needles in his legs and whatever, that was what drew him back into football. That was what drew him into getting to work to get back to where he was. I think his family probably had a ton to do with it. Knowing he has kids and everything, he wants to be able to run around with them and do what they can do. And right. I think that was part of the reason why he's retiring, is that this was kind of an eye opener. But yeah, for him to come back from an injury like that and have the season he did, he played 8 games, threw for 1,500 yards and 6 touchdowns, or nothing spectacular, but just the fact that he came back and was able to perform was reason enough to give him that award, because I can't imagine anybody else that deserved it. And it was, that's all you can do right there with Alex Smith's story. Just kind of toss it over your shoulder, baby. That's it. He's gone. Probably should go down in history as the greatest Washington football team quarterback since the merger of the name or no name. I don't know. Is it the name or the no name? I don't know.
They're really honestly considering staying with the Washington football team as their name, which
that's good. That's good, because that team is so out there and away from reality that they might as well just keep that name.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not going to get any better because their owner, I think, just bought out the rest of the ownership group. So
perfect.
I think he's like the sole, owner now. So, but yeah, talking about Alex Smith, I enjoyed seeing his return. I was rooting like heck for him. Probably one of the nicer guys, as far as I can see, in the NFL. I mean, obviously, I don't know him personally or anything like that, but just seeing him in interviews, when you see guys react the way they do, for guys, that tells you a lot, right? So even though we don't know him, like I said, personally, just seeing the reaction from other players around him and hearing them talk about him and what, it meant for them to see him back on the field, it tells you a lot, and to battle back, I mean, the guy's a fighter. He deserves everything that he's getting in life moving forward. Kudos to him for 16 years in the NFL. I mean, guy came in as a number 1 pick, and had some good years. You know what I mean? Had to battle through some stuff. Took some punches in the chin. When he was a starter over with Kansas City, had a great year. It happened to him twice. Great year in San Fran. Gets replaced by what's his name?
Jimmy Garoppolo. Joe Montana.
No.
Steve Young.
No, come on now. Jesus. He got replaced by Colin Kaepernick.
Oh, yeah.
So he goes out there and gets replaced by Colin Kaepernick. Then he goes to Kansas City, has a great year there, and gets replaced by Patrick Mahomes, which I guess you
Great
can't
call, Coach.
There.
Great call, Coach.
Yeah, right? So to see him get knocked down in that sense and be able to still come back and be the guy that he is and stay out there. Kudos to him. 37 years old. Like I said, 16 years in the NFL. I mean, he deserves to hang it up and to spend time with his family. And nice to see him do it where he's able to move around and have fun with his kids. The way he's going to. So
definitely
good on you, Alex Smith. Good on you. So,
well, that brings us to the topic of the night. Okay.
Speaking of injuries, right?
Speaking of injuries, so you get to pick one athlete that went through their career and had some injury issues. What athlete would it be that you would pick that you wish had gone completely injury-free, regardless of sport? Doesn't matter.
Regardless of sport.
So we can throw some names out there. I mean, you think of injury players, you think Greg Oden was a big one. Guy came out of college looking like he was 45 years old, and I honestly think that's what happened to him, was he just got old he was like 20 years old, and the guy looked like he was 100. And I think who was there? I mean, when you go to basketball, there's a ton. I mean, you got Grant Hill, T-Mac, Penny Hardaway, Allen Iverson, Yao Ming was a big one. Those are some names that I threw off on the side. Now the notable mentions here, and these are the ones I'm going to throw out, and then I'm going to save my big one, and and then you give me yours. So one, I'm going to go with Joe Namath. So Joe Namath, first 5 seasons, played great, and then he ended up missing like 30 out of his last 56 games or something. Gale Sayers was another one. He had the first knee injury. Was able to come back. Brian Piccolo helped him out with a lot of that. If you guys have never seen Brian's Song, one of the greatest movies in sports of all time. But it kind of shows what Gale Sayers was going through, how Brian Piccolo was helping him out. Recovered from the knee injury, had a good season, and then when his other knee went, never recovered. Gale Sayers probably could have gone down as one of the greatest running backs of all time. And my other one is Ken Griffey Jr., which, if some of you guys don't know, I mean, he missed over, 500 games, I think, from 2001 to 2006. So you look at Ken Griffey's numbers and throw another 500 games on top of that, you're talking Ken Griffey Jr. So, I mean, and the chat is going wild right now with names. So,
so you know what? Let's go ahead and hit up on some of these from the chat because, Papa Foskett.
The legend is in the building.
Oh, he is in the building. And this is not how I want to welcome you, Papa Foskett, because Dante Culpepper should not be on the list.
But you leave that up for argument because before Dante got hurt, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Who was his wide receiver?
Randy Moss.
Who could, I mean, almost anybody could throw the ball to Randy Moss.
Not when he was in Oakland.
I mean, well, that's because it's Oakland. I mean, they just have a way of kind of messing that up.
But even Dante, going back to college, he was one of the top quarterbacks in the country. When he was in the NFL before he got hurt, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, I'm not saying he would have changed history. He would have, gone down as the greatest quarterback of all time. But that's a definite. Culpepper went into my head when I was thinking of this.
Yeah. The guy that I kind of hit me automatically, and maybe it's because we're here locally and because he did have a lot, and I think we actually talked about this a couple weeks ago. We were talking leading up into the basketball season. To me, is Grant Hill, and I think the reason, obviously, that I thought of it being a kind of a local guy here when in 2000 he was coming to Orlando was probably the only ever free agent that selected to come here to Orlando in his prime.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And he just never was right from his ankle here, and we could not see the Grant Hill that we were all expecting and hoping to see. But that guy, let me tell you, I know a lot of people like to have comparisons to Jordan, and obviously I think Kobe's probably the closest thing to Jordan, and he had a full, long, prosperous career. But Grant Hill was the guy that was just silky smooth on the basketball court. Can make any move, can take on anybody, and the guy just seemed to glide through the basketball court. Detroit obviously said, well, we ain't keeping him, so we're going to use the heck out of him and ruined him. But that's a guy that would have been interesting to me to see what a full, healthy career would have looked like, because I think arrow is definitely pointing up still. It's not like he was coming to Orlando as a guy who was on the back end of his career. He was a guy that was coming here with excitement, hitting his stride as far as career was concerned, and just could never get over the hump there with the injuries. And man, as a Magic fan, especially, it sucks to see that, because the guy to me was just silky smooth.
That's a good one. I like that one. And hitting some of these ones up in the chat. AP was a good one. AP, he really only missed.
But he had his day.
Yeah.
He had his years.
Yeah. AP only missed like 1 year, I think, with the knee injury when he went out, and came back and was better than when he left. Dwayne Wade is another one. I think Dwayne Wade had a great career regardless of his injuries.
Yeah.
And
keep in mind, he got them their championship.
Mm-hmm.
I know Shaq was on that team, but he basically had to put the big fella on his back and carry him through because they were down, and if it wasn't for him taking over that series at the end, who knows what would have happened, right? So he had his moment.
And I think Bill actually picked my number 2 was Tiger Woods. I think if Tiger Woods had never gotten hurt, I think he never would have left where he was on top of the game, on top of his career. Because with him, the injury was so debilitating to his play style that he almost had to relearn how to play like a normal person that could only hit a drive, 320 yards instead of 400.
Right.
So Tiger Woods was my number 2, but number 1, and I'm surprised nobody saw this.
Okay.
Mickey Mantle. Okay, so let's talk Mickey Mantle. Okay, so from 1951 to 1963. Okay, first 12 years of his career, he had 14 injuries. Okay, and played through them. 14 injuries from 1951 to 63. This is over a 12-year career, or 12 years. He had 3 MVPs, 7 World Series wins, and won a Triple Crown. Okay, if you guys don't know what a Triple Crown is, obviously leading in batting average, home runs, and RBIs. But the 5 seasons after that, he only played in 150 games. So not even a full season. So can you imagine Mickey Mantle playing the other 5 years? So playing 17 years at the level that he was playing, he would be hands down. Because right now you can argue it. Hands down the greatest baseball player that ever lived. And I'm leaving it at that, okay? Mickey Mantle is my pick.
Run me his numbers again, as far as his career numbers are concerned.
Okay, so I might have to pull up his career numbers, because like I said, the first 12 years, he was up there. Let's see, Mickey Mantle. What do we got? Mickey Mantle career stats. Career stats. Okay, 536 home runs. Let's see. Record holder for most home runs in a career by a switch hitter.
Okay.
National League counterpart Chipper Jones with a 468 is there you go. So Chipper, shout out to Chipper right there. Another guy.
There you go. Chip.
Let's see. Here we go. Mickey Mantle stats. He had 8,102 at bats, 2,415 hits. So he batted 298 for his career. Let's see, 153 stolen bases, 1,500 RBIs, almost 1,700 runs. So here's the thing though. If you look at statistic-wise, season by season, he led the league 5 times in runs. He led the league 4 times in home runs. 5 times in walks. Now, granted, he led the league in strikeouts quite a few times too, but it's Mickey Mantle, dude.
What about a guy in baseball that played about 2,200 games, almost 2,300 games, and had about 7,700 career at bats. Had almost 1,800 runs. Had 2,600 hits. Had 1,800 RBIs. And about 2,000
Am I supposed to know who this is?
And missed about 4 years due to war. And
Lou Gehrig?
About 4 years cut short because of injuries. My man, Teddy Ballgame.
What? Teddy Ballgame?
Ted Williams, bro.
Listen,
he wasn't hurt for 4 years, but he went to war for crying out loud.
It's not an injury, though. Okay. That doesn't count. We're not stick with the topic here. We're not talking about war.
It's anytime you bring up a Yankee, I got to bring up a Red Sox.
You can't blame the Nazis and the Japanese for ruining Ted Williams' career.
I just did.
That's not how it works.
I just did. So I don't know. I had to throw Ted Williams in there somewhere. So again, you throw a Yankee, I got to throw I got to throw a Red Sox.
I mean, but you're talking 5 seasons. He basically, essentially, there were 4 seasons that he didn't play at all. Like if you take the 150 games he played, throw it into one season, 4 full seasons that Mickey Mantle didn't play. I mean, let's talk numbers alone. I mean, if he hits 25 dingers, that's another 125 home runs you can stack on top. And now he's sitting at 600 or 500 and no 600 and I don't know 80 home runs or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what about a guy like Kobe Bryant? I mean, I know that, he had the back end of his career had some injuries. But, I mean, some of those injuries took him out for quite some time. I mean, you look at, in 11, played 58 games, 13, 6 games. I mean, he finally retired in 15, but, the last several years of his career, I know he didn't have the team that he had, but, he was down on games. I mean, and here's a guy who could be out there and be, potentially the best ever if he just has, stays healthy as can be. Did Michael Jordan miss any seasons due to injury, Achilles, or anything like that? I mean, 3 retirements, I guess, but, he was pretty healthy all things considered. So you look at a guy like, Kobe Bryant in the NBA. I'm sure there's a couple other guys out there that the chat can help us out with NBA wise, but
well, T-Mac, I think T-Mac and Penny were 2 big ones.
That's an interesting one. Penny's actually another one, yeah. He has a flip phone. Gotta love my man, Papa Foskett. T-Mac is a good one because, like I've told you in the past, T-Mac is my favorite NBA player.
Yeah.
And I think T-Mac did some great things on the court. And if it wasn't for a bad back, partially because he had to put the magic on his back.
Yeah.
Who knows what he could have done. And then you hit on Yao Ming, and it's funny because they ended up playing together, right? And those guys just together.
Can you imagine if they would have both been healthy?
Yeah. How great would that combination have been if those guys could have mustered up some health there and had some healthy years? Who knows what could have happened, because that would have been monstrous.
Yeah.
That would have been monstrous. So, and then Penny Hardaway, it's crazy because we keep hitting on these names, Magic players. You know what I mean? We just haven't been able to keep these guys on the court. But Penny Hardaway was a guy that, my gosh, he came out there and like gangbusters, had Shaq as his sidekick and was doing this thing. And the knee just it's a shame because nowadays who knows what could have happened. And another one that I'll throw at you in the NBA that I think could be huge, and kudos to him because he's still playing and he's pretty good. But let me say this: Derrick Rose, if he would not have blown out his knee, let me tell you, that kid was something else. You want to talk about appointment TV?
Yeah.
A Chicago Bulls game with Derrick Rose was something to watch. It was almost a given that watching one of their games, you were going to see something spectacular because the kid had springs in his shoes, can jump from anywhere. Offensively, did his thing. Not a bad defender. I mean, the guy just so fun to watch, and to see him go down and struggle to get back, never quite, did that. It's just a shame because Derrick Rose was, in his day, and outstanding.
I saw him playing college, and it was he was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So
that national championship game that they played, let me tell you, that was something to watch. I mean, that was fun basketball. In that national championship, was in Memphis and
whoever it was.
It was Memphis and was it Kentucky with I think Chalmers was on the other side. Mario Chalmers. Yeah, I think he was the guy on the other side, and it was a buzzer beater. So, Derrick Rose, man, definitely. Like Merck says on there, would have been insane, and I agree 110%.
So I have a sideliner's opinion, by the way, and I didn't tell you this one. I didn't tell you this one because I got into it with somebody the other day. They were talking about who is the greatest defensive point guard in NBA history. Okay, defensive point guard, and he was saying it was Gary Payton, the glove. Okay, which everyone is going to agree with. I said it was
named like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said it was John Stockton. Now, this is where my own normal argument fights against me, because Gary Payton has a Defensive Player of the Year award. He was voted to more all defensive teams. But John Stockton, as most of you know, is the all-time leader in assists. He's also the all-time leader in steals. Not too many people know that. So, you know, it comes to the question is how do you rate defense? Do you rate it based off of awards? Because they played in different, they kind of played in different eras. But, a lot of people say, oh, well, Gary Payton locked down Michael Jordan. Okay, cool. For one game. But we're talking about over the course of a career. Do the numbers, when it comes to actual statistics, matter over awards? And this is where I argue with a lot of people when it comes to LeBron and Michael Jordan. Well, Michael Jordan's got 6 rings. He did it in 6 tries. He's better. But with Stockton, he averaged more steals. I don't think he averaged more rebounds. He didn't average more points. He obviously averaged more assists. He had a better field goal percentage, better 3-point percentage, better free throw percentage. So, to me, John Stockton is the best point guard. I would take him if I'm building a team in his prime. Plus, he went to Gonzaga, which helps a little bit. But my sideliner's opinion, John Stockton is a better defensive point guard than Gary Payton.
Well, and you know what, Timmy, it really, and you kind of hit it a little bit. It's the time that you play in, right? And I think that's kind of where it goes down to. I guess since we are, I don't know, do we think of Gary Payton at all as an offensive player? You know what I mean?
I don't think of Gary Payton at all.
Right. So I think that's where the argument kind of leans his way, is because the one thing that he stood out for was his defensive prowess, right?
Right.
So what kind of hurts Stockton is the fact that he was so good on offense, right? So it's almost like it makes you forget how good he was as a defensive guard, kind of to your point, right? So maybe that's something that people just, because he has something else that people can think about when they say John Stockton, then people, you know what I mean? And it's not defense right away. I think that's why people forget that. So, to try to help you out with your point and driving that, a more complete player. Let's just, let's take that guy.
Definitely more complete. But yeah, man, I was looking at a comparison, because this is like an ongoing argument that people have. There's statistics and graphs and charts and everything for this. But when someone says you're building a team, I don't hear many people say Gary Payton as their point guard. They say Magic Johnson. We get a lot of Magic Johnson. But why not take a guy that's going to dish the ball out? Why not take a guy that's going to get you assists? Magic Johnson was a master. He was like watching, Bob Ross when you're high. Like, it was the greatest thing you could see, because that's how good Magic Johnson was. But when it came to, and again, Tim Duncan goes down as one of my favorite players. When it came down to, just basic basketball knowledge and fundamentals, Stockton was the guy. Stockton has always been my favorite player, always will be. And that's really the argument I have. Like I said, when it comes to all-around offensive player, he was a much better offensive player than Gary Payton was, and he averaged less points. But what he did away from the ball and what he did with the ball were two different things. So, that was my sideliner's opinion.
I like it. I like that you're bringing the sideliners, hashtag sideliners opinion back for everybody in the chat. Again, hit us up with your sideliners opinion. Just hashtag sideliners opinion. Hit us up on Twitter, at Talk Sideline, on Instagram, on it's just Sideline Sport Talk. Our Facebook group, Sideline Sport Talk. Find us on there. We actually have 2 of those, so really no excuses. Just find us on there, put it on the comments, and let us know what you think. It could be about anything, like we said in the past, and Timmy threw out this particular topic here that's sports related, but we'll let you guys go at it. Whatever you want. When we first started it, I threw out my Krispy Kreme versus Dunkin' Donuts, and I thought that Dunkin' Donuts are, my opinion, the better donuts, and I don't think a lot of people would agree with me, but whatever, it's my opinion.
Donut King.
But yeah, which, by the way, I had Donut from Donut King prior to coming on with y'all today. So that's definitely a good one. But let us know your thoughts. Throw your opinion at us, and then we can maybe grab one of those and talk about it here on our show. So hit us up. #Sideliners Opinion. Timmy, thank you for bringing that one.
Yeah.
Along.
Well, we got some good stuff in the chat here. A little off topic, but I'm liking what I see from LaMelo so far. To me, he's already way better than his brother. He's way better than both of his brothers, and I don't think that was going to be a question at all when it came to the NFL. Is the time that he put in overseas, developing as a player. He is light years ahead of his brothers. I would take him if I had to pick one of them to be on my team. It would be him, hands down, no question.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's definitely a guy that he stepped in there, and it's just doing his thing. I haven't seen a whole lot lately of the Hornets playing, but from what I saw early on in the season and just little tidbits that I've seen here and there, he's
he's fun to watch.
He did his thing. He did, yeah, and ultimately that's what we're looking for in a league like that nowadays, right? Is somebody who's going to keep our attention, make it fun. So big ups to him, man. Big ups to him. I both of his brothers combined probably don't make the one ball brother. So wonder why Dad didn't decide to make him a shoe.
Yeah, it's always good having a third ball. That's what I always say. Having that extra ball. But when it turns out to be the best ball, you gotta sometimes you gotta cut off the other ones. Just keep the good ones. So
I tell you. Hey, listen, Timmy, we were talking about injuries earlier, and I do want to hit on this because it was in the chat earlier too. Wanted to talk a little bit about the Nets, right? And
yeah.
Some of the negativity that has gone on around it, and to touch a little bit on injuries. Kevin Durant again hurt. Has gone down again. A guy that we're starting to see, is he going to start going down the path, or is he already on the path of a player who just cannot stay healthy? I think we're seeing it. The guy comes back for a couple of weeks and then he's back down again. Is he becoming too fragile to be a guy that you can depend on, especially when you're trying to chase for a championship if you're the Nets?
Well, the problem with Kevin Durant is, and granted, when he came into the league, he was skin and bones. And now he's got a little bit of muscle, and he's still skin and bones. And I think that's part of it because it's a thigh contusion, so I get it. Like, it hurts. Right. It can hamper your movement definitely every time you kind of put weight and push off of it. But to me, I think his downfall is going to be similar, not so much to being Yao Ming, but the fact that he's not as bulky as some of these other guys, and he doesn't have a lot of meat on him. There's not as much padding there to protect everything. Is this the downward slide of Kevin Durant? I don't think so.
Yeah.
But I think that he will go before some of these other guys do because of injuries. He's a big guy. He's a tall guy. He doesn't play like he's he plays like a I guess a shooting guard, small forward. Where he can move around, plays outside, plays inside, likes to drive. So I think that's another reason where he does kind of get bumped a little bit more than some of these other guys. So it's I don't think it's his downfall, but yeah, I think he's definitely going to be out of there before some of these other guys.
Yeah, and even on that same team, we saw Lamarcus Aldridge, who became paid a lot of money to get out of San Antonio to become a free agent, ended up with the Nets. I think he only played a couple of games, and just this past week also announced his retirement due to injury. These guys are just kind of falling apart a little bit on us, and we'll see. I think that's the team that can compete with anybody in the West when healthy, right? So are they just going to be cautious now and kind of sit them for the rest of the way and say, hey, you know what? Let's see if you can get healthy and we'll get you back in there for come playoff time, or is this something that's going to continue to linger on and take effect in the playoffs where, so much so where they don't come out of the East, which would, I think, be a shocker to most people that, a team like the Nets with as much firepower as they have wouldn't come out of the East. So something to keep an eye on. It's crazy because a lot of times when you see so many personalities come together and high flyers like this, I guess when we look back, not very often does it work, right? You put together, Dwayne Wade and Bosh and LeBron James, and that seemed to work over there in Miami. But I think we're seeing it where a lot of these guys come together, and it's not always just peachy all the time, and they win. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not a given. So we'll see what's going to happen with these guys, but they definitely need to get healthy if they want to come out of the East and compete for a championship.
Yeah, I think again, this is why I can't get into basketball. Is at the end of the day, there's still only two teams in the league now.
Yeah.
It's Brooklyn and LA. This is why basketball is still irrelevant because there's no upsets. There's no unless we went to like a maybe first couple rounds in basketball were like a best of 3 series or something like that.
Yeah.
Where you could actually see some upsets, but best of 7, nobody's going to hang with these guys in a best of 7 series, and that's why I can't get behind it. But we got to tackle this because this came up 2 weeks ago on our chat too. Was the best D line of all time. I know it's catching both of us off guard. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tweak it a little bit. Instead of saying best D line of all time, let's go with the best defensive lineman, and see if we can expand on that. Because this is where the age is going to show on some of us, and being able to argue your because I mean right now, you've got guys like Aaron Donald in the league. You got guys like J.J. Watt who have had these storied careers. 3-time Defensive Player of the Year awards, 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards. I think who was it? LT. I think he's the only other one. Lawrence Taylor who's got 3. So it's tough if you're arguing best defensive lineman, which is that's tough because you've got guys like Michael Strahan, Randy White, those guys from back in the day. Alan Page, another one. Bob Lilly, the Dallas
Reggie,
Cowboy
baby.
great.
Reggie.
Reggie
White, man.
Mean Joe Green, you got Deacon Jones. I mean, now you're going back into the 70s. But Reggie White's probably got to be the best.
Well, your nickname is the Minister of Defense.
13 All-Pros,
holy cow.
13 Pro Bowls, won a Super Bowl, most sacks in a Super Bowl. As of right now, I think it's 3. Defensive Player of the Year twice. Obviously, he's in the Hall of Fame. And 2 years ago, he was voted as one of the top 100 players of all time. So
right,
Reggie White.
So we got Papa Fascia throwing a bunch of names out there. Anybody else in the chat that wants to light it up and let us know?
Alan Page is a good one though. Alan Page was a 9-time Pro Bowler. So what he had like 170 sacks or something in his career. That's got to be up there in numbers. I don't know. Yeah. What's the record? Who has the record?
For what? For sacks?
For most sacks in a career.
I don't know in the career. I thought in the season. I thought it was still
Michael Strahan.
Still Michael Strahan. I thought they broke that here recently.
Who's the leader? Who has the most sacks in a career? Bruce Smith has 200. Reggie White has 198. Kevin Green 160. Julius Peppers 159. So there you go. All-time sack leaders. Bruce Smith with 200 sacks. Bob Lilly's up. Bob Lilly, bro. I'm telling you, Dallas Cowboys. Don't sleep on them.
Yeah, I don't go too far back with the names. I started watching football. A long time ago. As far as where we are in time now, but not so far back. And I didn't really start watching football for stats or anything like that until I would probably say, to be honest with you, probably 10 or so years, whatever we did fantasy football. That's probably
about 10 or 11 years
as I started really paying attention a little bit more to stats. I just watched it more for the fun of the game and competitive nature of rooting for my teams. But as far as like trying to really keep on the stats and all that, it really wasn't till recently. And so unfortunately, I hate to admit, since I'm sitting on here and I'm the one talking, I'm not as well versed on the defensive guys from from some time ago. But it is some homework that I'm willing to take on, and something that we can definitely touch on, especially as we're getting closer now to the NFL draft, as
Oh
football
man,
starts rolling around.
what a
So,
great segue! What a great segue!
Yeah. So, I am a pro at my craft. Not really. I just admitted I'm not.
I like
but it's
it.
okay.
I like it.
But yeah, we will roll into the draft, and we will roll into some tweets from Mr. Trevor Lawrence, whom is already kind of making himself at home with the Jags.
Yeah.
He's throwing out there. He's like, "Hey, Jags fans, I'm ready to contribute to the local charities, and I'm throwing $20K, at a local charity and whatnot." So, I don't think it's a secret he's going to end up with the Jags, and he seems to be for it.
Yeah, I think. From what I've heard, he has been receiving gifts from people, wedding gifts from people in Jacksonville, from Jags fans.
Yeah.
So I honestly, I think the 1 and 2 picks are no question who's going there. Now I'm hearing some rumbling that Mac Jones may not be the 3rd pick. So I don't know, man. I know last time we spoke about this was a couple weeks ago, and a lot can happen in a couple of weeks. But
yeah, seems like every week it changes. Every week it changes.
It really does. But the big question right now is this 4 pick that's coming up. Everyone is trying to figure out what Atlanta's going to do. Are they going to take Kyle Pitts? Are they going to take Jamar Chase? Are they going to trade down? Who's going to trade up? I would be surprised if Atlanta didn't just pick at 4. I would be surprised if they trade down.
Well,
That's
I posed this to you the last time we were on about Atlanta, and I'll throw it to you again, because if Mr. Pitts is there at number 4, and you have Julio Jones, and you have Calvin Ridley, why not throw Mr. Pitts in there with those guys to create more havoc for the opposing defense and see what you can get out of a guy like Matt Ryan, whom I still think has something left. I think that they need to revamp that offensive system, be more creative, similar to when Shanahan was there on his last year when they made it to the Super Bowl. Why wouldn't you pick up a guy like Pitts, whom everybody, by all accounts, is saying it's an all-world talent?
But maybe that's why. Maybe it's too much hype, I don't know.
I don't know, man.
But I have seen.
I think that's a guy that if he's there, you have to do it. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to trade down and do what?
They could trade down and still get him, though. They could trade down to like 7 with Denver. Denver takes a quarterback, and Pitts falls to 7 because from what everything that is saying now is everyone was saying Penei Sewell is going to go to Cincy. All roads now in Cincy are saying wide receiver. Everyone is saying they're going to take a wide receiver. Jamar Chase is going to go to Cincy. So that leaves Miami, who's going to take a wide receiver, or Kyle Pitts. But if you're Miami, you kind of have to take a wide receiver, I think, at that point. I mean, it's so tough because when you have a dynamic player like Kyle Pitts, to where he can be a receiver and he can be a tight end, the problem is he's still a tight end. So at the end of the day, he's not going to be a wide receiver all the time. And I think that's where they're kind of thinking.
But here's the thing when it comes to Miami, right? Because they have the type of quarterback, like I talked last time, where you have a quarterback that moves around the way that Tua Tagovailoa does. They tend to the best guy to get for a quarterback like that is going to be a tight end, right? You can move out, you can scramble around, and then you can dish it off short to one of these guys, and then they can make it happen. So, again, if you're Atlanta, you're not trying to go back behind Miami and then you're going 50-50 they're going to take your guy or not.
Right.
I would take them there unless somebody's blowing you, out of the water with something that is, that is crazy as far as a package. You go in there and you grab your guy, man, and you get him in there with Julio Jones. You get him in there with Calvin Ridley. They have Austin Hooper. You go 2 tight end set. 2 wide receivers. My God, I mean, who do you guard?
I mean,
what do you do?
In theory, it's a great. And I'm not saying Atlanta's not going to take Kyle Pitts.
Head coach over there now. He needs to call me to be the offensive coordinator. I mean, I'm making a case for it.
I mean, most likely it's going to happen. I think that is going to happen. But I just with Miami, you also have to look at it. They've got Devontae Parker, who's how old is he? I feel like he's been in the league forever. They got Will Fuller, who's suspended, and they've got Mike Gesicki. They have a really good tight end. They already have one.
And they signed the running back, did they not? Did they not sign?
They got Malcolm Brown.
No, they signed a running back, I thought.
They still have Myles Gaskin. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I'm not sold on Miami's receiving core right now. And I don't know. I like Mike Gesicki. It's almost like why take a guy just to take him when you don't need him, when you can get something else, another piece that's going to help you more. Yeah. So that's my argument with Miami taking him. But yeah, I think Penei Sewell is going to fall down. We were both in agreement that he was going to go to Cincy, but it's looking like now everybody's saying he's going to go to Carolina at 8. So.
Hey, we'll see. I mean, it's gonna be a fun draft. I think it's the first time in a while that I think I've been excited about a draft, and partially because my team, I have no idea what they're gonna do. Now they're trying to create rumors out there that is it Devontae Smith? I always forget his first name, out of Alabama, Heisman Trophy winner, was wearing some Julian Edelman gear for his pro day. And they're trying to say, hey, does that mean that the Patriots are looking at a guy like Devontae Smith? We'll see. We shall see. Personally, I like to see a quarterback, but what can you do?
Well, there was a lot of rumbling, too, about Jerry Jones being absolutely infatuated with Kyle Pitts. So there's another one to put on the back burner is, could Dallas trade up? If Atlanta trades down, they could reasonably trade up from 10 to 7 and get a Kyle Pitts, possibly.
And when you look at Dallas, right, it's what a great pick that would be for them.
You're telling me.
I mean, you look at when you look at their offense, you have Ezekiel Elliott, right? You have what's his name? Dede. What's his
CeeDee Lamb?
CeeDee Lamb. Shoot, I'm blanking all over the place here today. Yeah, CeeDee Lamb. You still have the kid that came from Oakland or whatever. I'm blanking on all kinds of names here, Tim.
Are we naming wide receivers right now?
From your Cowboys. They have guys, and the only piece that they're missing realistically is
a tight end.
Yeah, it's a tight end. So you go out there and you pair, you throw him in there with these other guys, because on defense, I mean, I think they just needed help. Did they not? I mean, I know that they need some back end help. You telling me that they're back end, but you have other rounds of the draft to pick up quality guys that you can do that. If you can go get a splash guy to throw in that offense to help kind of boost that thing up, give Kellen Moore a little bit more oomph at that position, which the last couple of years has done nothing for you, man. Let me tell you. I mean, all of a sudden, you get Dak, coming back, and as he's getting healthier, you give him somebody that he can go quickly to with the checkdowns to protect him a little bit as he gets healthier and healthier and gets back to his normal self. I think that would be a fantastic pickup for the Cowboys. But what's that price going to be to get up there and to get him?
Jerry don't care. But, I mean, and at the end of the day, I think if we don't take Pitts, we're going to end up taking a cornerback. It's going to either be J.C. Horn or Patrick Surtain, whoever's there. Mm-hmm. They'll probably end up taking one of the – I mean, that's always been our weak spot is our cornerback situation. Yeah. Maybe somebody like Zaven Collins, the edge rusher from Tulsa. But I feel like the last few years we really focused on edge rushers, and I think we're okay there. I think, and the big question is Leighton Vander Esch going to be able to come back healthy? Because he's really been the missing link, and if he's even going to stay in Dallas much longer, with Jalen Smith being paid. So there's a lot of question marks in Dallas on who they're going to take. I think if Pitts is there, you got to take him. If you can make the move to take him, you got to take him because that is still the missing piece on offense. But yeah, man, this is one of those drafts where I haven't been this excited about an NFL draft in a while. I will say that.
Yeah, it's I mean, the NFL is a sport that dominates, the U.S. I mean, it is what it is. Even their off seasons tend to be entertaining. So, and this is nothing short of it. A couple weeks away. What is it? The just at the end here of April for the draft. So
it's like April 27th, I think.
We'll see, man. It's going to be fun. Those days leading up to it, all the wheeling and dealing that are happening as we get closer to the draft. Excited to see it. So.
It's a week from Friday. No, a week from Thursday. Is the first round.
All right.
April 29th.
We'll see. Are we doing? They're not doing the virtual stuff this year again, right? They're actually going to let guys go somewhere and step up on the stage.
They might limit it, but yeah, I would hope so. I mean, things are getting a little better. So
we're not going to see Bill Belichick's dog Nike at the table, the kitchen table, drafting guys.
The draft. Yeah, now Cam Newton's still their quarterback. That ought to tell you something.
Yeah. Well, hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. I want to touch on this because I wanted to ask you, because we did have a retirement, and I kind of touched on it just a little bit. Julian Edelman called it a career as well here this past week. Some say because of an injury that he sustained last year, but I think it's just a combination of several injuries over the last couple of years. The guy put himself in any position to try to get that extra half yard. Just a guy that grinds every single play, and he seemed to grind his whole career because of whether it be his height or the lack of people believing in him, kind of that Rudy effect. But a guy who is, who played his ass off as a Patriot, I definitely appreciated him. So my question to you, Timmy, is he a Hall of Famer?
Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting you to say that. And you know how I feel about the New England Patriots, especially now. I like the New England Patriots now better than when they were good. I love the fall from grace, but Julian Edelman, I was a Julian Edelman fan when he was playing running back. When he was coming out of the backfield for New England. We're talking back in the Wes Welker days. And I used to sit there with you and Troy and Joel, and I was like, this guy is just a giant Wes Welker. That's what he is. And he turned into Wes Welker. And I agree with you. I think the injuries, I mean, the guy, I don't know how many concussions the guy had. I'm glad that he's not just known for the catch that he made in the Super Bowl that was probably one of the greatest catches of all time. Yeah. Will he be in the Hall of Fame? Definitely not a first ballot. I will say that. But you could make an argument. I'll say that. You can make an argument that he will be in the Hall of Fame. So I will leave it at that.
I'll say this. Look at how long it took some of the greatest, wide receivers to get in, right? I mean, we look at the list of guys who just recently, started getting in, and those were guys that would, widely considered to be, kind of best of all time in the conversation, and top, 5, 10, whatever you want to call it. Is Julian Edelman one of those guys? I mean, even as a Patriots fan, I can't sit here and just tell you that Julian Edelman is a top 10 wide receiver, right? But man, he found himself in big time plays and in big time games time and time again. I mean, he break the record, I think, for most catches in a Super Bowl. I think he's tied with Jerry Rice for career receptions in the playoffs. I mean, when you start looking at some of his numbers and you start looking at some of the things, you have some really good numbers there, but I would agree with you. Unfortunately for him, I don't think first ballot. How long do you get to be on a ballot in the NFL? I mean, is it like forever and ever? Or
I think they can just keep putting you on until you go in. But I mean, the big thing with him is he doesn't have his playoff numbers are good, but you have to take into account too that you have to look at the team he had, how he got into that position to be in the playoffs and have those many numbers. If you look at his numbers in general, I mean, he's still only second in franchise history in receptions. I think he's fourth in yards. I think he's like ninth in touchdowns. Now that's just on his team. That's not even in the NFL. That's on his team. So, I mean, his numbers don't really pop out Hall of Fame to me. If you talk about just all around good looks, his hair, got great hair. Guy's got great hair. I'll give it to him. Chiseled jawline. I mean, he's your prototypical New England Patriot. You know, the Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, Rob Gronk.
Never been in any kind of trouble that we can see. You know, I think there's guys out there though that are a lot like Julian Edelman in the sense that their careers are made by some of their big moments. But when you really start kind of picking them apart numbers wise, you start realizing, I don't want to say pedestrian, but because I don't think his career was it wasn't pedestrian, but, you know, it's just like, all right, man, I thought might have been a little better. Like you said, you know, ninth on his team in some stats. You sit there and you go, man, I thought maybe a little bit better.
Yeah.
But then you look at the moments and you're like, you know, his catch in the Super Bowl again.
Exactly.
You know, breaking the record for most catches in a Super Bowl for, you know, he's got, you know, timely kickoff returns and punt returns when the team needs it. You know, a guy that played, you know, DB for them early on. You know, it's just all around. You start looking at it and you're like, man, just when you look at his moments, if they ever do a NFL Top Shot, you know, like the NBA Top Shot that we were talking about, the NFTs. I mean, Julian Edelman would have his fair share of NFL Top Shots, right? You know what I mean? He would have moments that you can look back at and say, man, those were cool. Obviously, to lead off with, you know, with the catch in the Super Bowl.
He's a 20th year inductee. There you go. So 20 years from now, I'm with you. But you know,
we'll take it though. We'll take it.
And this goes into what the legend brought up, best slot receiver of all time. And the only reason I brought that up is because we were talking about Edelman and we brought this up. But when I think of a slot receiver and a guy that revolutionized the position, it's got to be Wes Welker.
He created
when
you say slot receiver nowadays,
right?
The reason we have the term slot receiver is because of Wes Welker. Yes.
Yeah. So I will give that to Wes Welker, and I think what he played with New England, played with Miami, and Denver, right?
Right.
So and in all three of those, he played the same position, and he played it hard, and inevitably it was the downfall of why his career ended the way it did was because I mean, another shot to the head, the guy was going to be a mushroom. I mean, he was but I mean, Wes Welker will be in the Hall of Fame before Julian Edelman. I'll put it that way.
Okay. Well,
and deserves
did Wes win a championship? I don't remember.
But are you gonna? But here's the thing. See, when it comes to Super Bowls, I will argue head coaches. I will argue quarterbacks. When you want to talk Super Bowl wins, because wide receivers have very little to do with whether or not you win a Super Bowl. They can only control with what happens.
When you break the record for most catches in a Super Bowl, I think you have a whole lot to do with a team winning that game.
But because the quarterback threw it to you, and I get that. But I'm not going to say Wes Welker only has this many Super Bowls and Edelman has more, so Edelman's a better wide receiver. I'm looking at he was the Michael Jordan of the slot receiver. He made that position what it was, and his numbers show for it. I mean, how many times did he have over 100 receptions? I mean, and he didn't. I mean, really, again, that's why I said when you look back at his numbers, you start saying, man, I mean, the guy had over 100 receptions, to your point, twice. You know what I mean? I mean, he was at 92, 98, receptions. I mean, but then he went years, his first couple of years, 37, 7, 4, 21. Again, it's interesting to me because Welker had 5, by the way.
He's one of those guys that sits out there that when you look at his career, I think if nowadays, if you say, hey, Julian Edelman, Hall of Famer, I think a lot of people immediately will go, he's a Hall of Famer. And then you go, really? Let's really break this down. And you start looking at it again and you start realizing, holy crap, man, maybe not so much. I mean, went over 1,000 yards 3 times in his career.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And that's a New England Patriots standard.
Yep. So again, yeah, and to that point, who knows what his numbers could have been somewhere else? Maybe drastically worse, or maybe that much better, because he's playing in a system that that he's just gonna. That's what he's gonna get. You know what I mean? But again, he contributed in so many other ways. That timely punt return. Whether it be for a touchdown or to give him good field position. Just making all these plays. I mean, the guy is. I'd love to see him in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if he'll get there, but he's one of those French guys.
PP Grande. Chris Carter is not Terrence Williams. Terrence Williams is the greatest wide receiver 2 in NFL history. The guy never had a chance to shine. Played in the shadows of everyone. But I'd say that's a question I think for the chat. I want you guys to look up. Maybe Murky can find out. Is who has the most 100 reception seasons in a career? That's a number I want to see, because Welker had 5, and 2 of them he had over 120. So yeah. To the argument of Julian Edelman going to the Hall of Fame, Wes Welker is better.
Well, there you go. There you go. I mean, he kind of just stamped that one right there.
Get out of here, Edelman.
There is some somewhat historical stuff happening here tonight in the NBA. Actually, with Steph Curry is going for a record tonight. I believe he's going for 10 straight 30-point games. And going into the fourth quarter, Steph Curry has 29. So I think unless something crazy happens, he's got to get there. 10 straight games with 30 points. Steph Curry is going crazy. Unfortunately, the team's record is not reflecting his craziness on the basketball court.
There's a first ballot Hall of Famer, by the way, Steph Curry.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
The
plastic-free home cleaning.
The question was posed earlier this week. I heard it on talk radio. Is he going to finish his career, Steph Curry, with the Golden State Warriors?
I hope so. I think that would only make his legacy better if he manages to stay with them. He got his championships. He's got nothing to prove. He's going to go down as the greatest 3-point shooter of all time. I hope he does. I hope he stays. And if he leaves, where would he go? That he would still be the general on the court, the captain on the court to be able to control what happens, and that would be the big. I mean, if he went to another team, it would have to be a team with no other big names on it. Yeah, is what I would hope.
Yeah, and you know what? And to me, I don't know, maybe it's just me. He doesn't seem like the type of guy that's going to go ring chasing. You know what I mean? That's going to sit there and go, you know what? This team sucks over here now. I need to go somewhere and go win a championship, so I'm going to go in and tag team with, whatever player out there and try to win one. It doesn't seem that way. Now, who knows? These guys tend to, do some crazy stuff. But
the Hawks.
I mean, if he wants to come to the Magic, I'll take him.
Oh, hey, I'll buy season tickets if we're doing that.
Yeah, But I agree with you. I'd like to see him stay over there, especially because he's already won his championships, right? And he won them. Nobody can say that he won them because of Kevin Durant going, because Kevin Durant went ahead and joined them to win his championship, right? Mm-hmm. So they were already winning prior to Kevin Durant. So, and I think in large part because of him. So I hate to see him go somewhere else. I like to see him finish off his career there. Almost like I really wish that Dwayne Wade would have stayed in Miami his whole career, rather than finishing it off with kind of the duds that he did, going to Cleveland and then going to Chicago. And, it's just, he should have stayed with the Heat and just finished it off there. So Steph, stay with the Warriors. Don't go anywhere. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep having fun. You've already won your championships. I think he said it in one of his press conferences just this past week. He has a lot to accomplish, but, what was it? He said, I have a lot to accomplish, but nothing to prove. And I thought that was perfectly said. A guy that definitely has done his thing and deserves all the great stuff that comes his way. So,
Bill jumping in, let us know the Bolts won. No surprise there. The Tampa Bay Lightning. pulling out another win. I did want to
Bruins
touch
ain't
base.
doing that bad, Bill. The Bruins ain't doing that bad.
I did want to touch base real quick on the whole Deshaun Watson debacle, just because we do have kind of an update. We had the 22 civil lawsuits with the women accusing him of sexual misconduct. The big news was that the judge ordered that they all have to disclose their names now, and that was the big thing that the defense was waiting for. The names came out, and their defense is they're liars. That's the defense so far, is that they're all lying. I'm not going to get into the Deshaun Watson situation because we still don't know what's going on. We don't know the outcome. But so far we know who they are now, and we know that they're alleged liars. If he's an alleged sexual misconductor, they're alleged liars. This is your prototypical court case, and we're not going to touch on it anymore because I can't stand hearing about this garbage. So let's close that tab.
yeah, I'm done. I'm done with Deshaun Watson myself. So that's kind of. I mean, until something happens there, I really don't. Whatever. I mean, it seems like a crazy kind of circus show. I'm not downplaying it by any stretch of the imagination. If these ladies had something happen to them, then they should prosecute it to the full extent of the law. But until we get more information and we're able to, gain a better picture, a clearer picture of the situation, I think it's just foolishness to keep throwing crap out there. Let's let, the law do what it's going to do, and let's let the process kind of take care of itself. And once it's all said and done, then we can sit on here and clown on whomever we want as long as we want. But for now, let's just let that thing go.
So how old are you? I don't know who he's talking to right there.
Yeah.
Because he knows how old I am. But yeah, it's we touched on a bunch today. We touched on a lot. I was glad we were able to get in on the injury thing. I think that was a cool topic. I'm constantly on the lookout for some cool stuff that we can get on. And what I want to start doing is posting it on Twitter a little earlier, maybe a day or two earlier, so that we can get some people in there to start doing some thinking, doing some homework. But yeah, that was. You got anything else for us tonight? You got any other topics?
No, I mean, I think we're pretty good. Again, a shout out to Orlando City Soccer. Got started this past weekend. MLS is back in full swing. I think it's going to be one of their better years. Have a lot of, big names, some good additions to the league, some cities that I think that are going to be excited. I think the league is growing. Fun to see fans back in the stadium. I think they had 50% capacity over there. So we'll see how that goes. Our owner says that he's trying to get full capacity by the third home game, which is in May. We definitely want to get out there and check some of those games out. So, yeah, I mean, the other thing that we can touch on real quick is your thoughts on, the Padres getting their first no-hitter. We'll throw that in there to close it out. A team that had never done that, and it's a topic that we can hit up. Some homework for the chat. Next week, we'll talk about teams that have not accomplished
a goal.
Kind of one of the main goals in their sport. In this case, like a no-hitter, a major league ball club who has not completed a no-hitter finally gets one. So whatever, kind of that is in any other sport that you can think of, then let us know, and we'll be glad to tackle that because I'm sure there's some good stuff out there to be had. But Joe Musgrave's throwing a no-hitter for the Padres, first time in their history. So, and a kid local to San Diego, so good on him.
So some other stuff. We do have some field trips coming up, guys. I want to remind you, May 1st, we're planning on going out to Orlando Speed World for the Night of Destruction, the Destruction Derby. You guys can buy your tickets at eventbrite.com. You can pick those up. Tickets are about $25 a person. It starts. It's May 1st, 7 p.m. School bus, figure eights, monster trucks, demo derby, all that stuff. So if you guys have never been to anything like that, I highly recommend it. It is a blast. Looking forward to that. We've got the Daytona Tortugas coming up. Seasons are coming up to go out, maybe see some. Single A ball? I think they're single A or double A. So that's some stuff we've got coming up. Plus we've got the draft coming up in less than 2 weeks. So we've got the first round on the 29th, and then a week from Saturday we've got Orlando Speed World Night of Destruction. So if you guys want to pick up your tickets, hit us up, man. Let us know if you guys want to meet up out there. We can hang out, drink some brewskis, and maybe eat some hot dogs and watch some car crashes. So I'm excited about that. But other than that, man, I think that's gonna be a wrap, guys. Next week we're gonna find some new stuff to talk about. Follow us on the Twitter at Talk Sideline. Follow us on Instagram at Sideline Sport Talk. We are working on some stuff for the channel, guys. Ricky D and I have been talking. We're going to be working on getting some intros for the channel. So after you guys watch the videos, you can come back and check them out. We're going to be getting some cool little intros put in. We're working on YouTube banners. We've got some artwork guys that are going to be doing some stuff for us. So I'm pretty pumped about that. But other than that, man, I think we're going to sign off for the night. Let you guys have a great week. Keep your heads up. Keep smiling. Keep shining. Keep doing the things you do when you do them. And we will see you guys on the sidelines.